Welcome to Elevate Life, where high-performing leaders, CEO, military, senior officers, and professional athletes come together to sharpen their mindsets, refine their strategy, and execute at the highest level. This isn't just about motivation, it's about measurable progress. Here, we don't just talk about leadership, we live it, own it, and elevate it. Every session, we challenge ourselves to take radical accountability, not just for our success, but for the impact that we create. Because in high stakes leadership, standing still, it still is not an option. This is part two of my conversation with Martin Perelmuter, who is co-founder of the Speaker's Spotlight. The conversation was so good, I divided it into two parts. So let's dive into section number two. Here's section one of two. Culture is contagious. How to build a team that embodies your values. It seems as if we are living in a more divisive world. Every day, loyalties are waning. So my question to you is this. If you had to step away from your business for 6 months, would you trust your team to carry on your mission and move your organization forward? Would they make decisions that align with your company values? Would they treat clients with the same level of care and excellence that you would? Or would things slowly start to fall apart? With more startups using 1099s consultants to run their companies, we have to ask ourselves, are we really building a company on 1099s? Here is what I found out, and maybe you have found something similar. Your company's culture is not what you say it is. It's what your team does when you're not around. So building a values-driven team is more than just hiring smart people. It's about hiring the right people. People who don't just work for your business, but they believe in your business. I like what Martin and his business partner and wife, Farah Perelmuter, has put together to ensure that they are always hiring the right person for their team.
Right. So that person you're interviewing isn't necessarily the person you're going to hire. It's sort of their best version of themselves, maybe. And so, just by asking good questions and trying to get at the heart of who they are, we got better and better at it over time to the point where we're pretty good now. Like we rarely make a really bad hire. And so knowing what our values are, knowing what we stand for, and asking questions that will shed some light on that person really helps us kind of determine whether if the person's a good fit. So it really comes down to, the cultural fit is the most important thing. The technical skills are obviously required, but then it all becomes fit. And then it's really just about asking questions and taking your time to make sure that you feel that the person you're hiring is going to align with the values. And the test that I always love, someone once told me, is let's say your most important client shows up to a meeting with you 10 minutes early, right? And you're tied up in another meeting and they're sitting out there in the lobby, and whoever you have, whether it's a person at the front desk or someone might be walking by, has got 10 or 15 minutes with your most important client. Like, are you worried about what that 10 or 15 minutes is? Or are you like, oh, great, you had a chance to meet so-and-so, because you know that everyone on your team is such a good representation of your company and your values?
Listen to my growth story in this area. I have been learning to give up the reins on the business and made my first W-2 hire. I have never felt comfortable leaving the business because I thought that it was not able to run with me out of the picture. I decided to take a week vacation and not check in with the team. This departure was as much of my growth as it was for me, as it was for them. So imagine my full delight when I left for a week's vacation and I came back and the team had booked 3 events that week. This showed me that I was learning to let go. Now, I'm not all the way there. I have a lot more to learn in this business, but I am getting better. I think many entrepreneurs believe they have to do the job themselves. But as we grow, we need to share our values with a team who also believes in those values also. So if we were to walk away, the business can keep running without us. So now back to Martin and Farah's strategy. Here's the lesson breakdown. Building the right team isn't about resumes, it's about alignment. Martin and his wife Farah didn't start with a detailed HR strategy. They started with one simple principle: hire great people and the things will work out. And for a while, that worked. But as their company grew, they had to refine their approach to make sure every new hire wasn't just a skilled worker, but a true cultural fit. Here's what strong leaders do to build a team that reflects their values. One of the philosophies they use is to hire for mindset, train for skill. Technical skills can be taught, but work ethic, character, and alignment with your mission, those are non-negotiable. If someone has the right mindset but lacks experience, you can train them. But if someone has the right experience but the wrong attitude, well, you'll be fixing problems instead of building momentum. I had a person like that when I was the acting CEO of an organization. I had a very talented person. Actually, I had a few talented people, but they were just unable to turn the corner on attitude. They were isolating themselves in the organization, and I felt as if I had failed in getting them to understand the mission of the organization and who our clients were, who we were serving. Ask the right questions in interviews. Martin's team doesn't just ask about skills, they ask questions that reveal who the person really is. He put it perfectly. People don't just show up to interviews, they send their representatives, meaning that polished, prepared person that you meet in the interview may not be the same person that you actually hire. Your job as a leader is to dig deeper and uncover whether someone truly aligns with your vision. Here's the 10-minute test. Imagine your most important client. They show up for 10 minutes, early for a meeting. You're running late. The only person able to greet them, a new team member. Do you feel confident or does your stomach drop? If leaving that person alone with your best client makes you uneasy, you hired the wrong person. Here's what happens when you get culture right. Your team becomes an extension of you. They don't just do their jobs, they live your values. You create consistency. No matter who a client interacts with, the experience feels the same. You build trust. With a team that believes what they're doing, you don't have to micromanage. You can focus on growth. So this isn't about control, it's about building something bigger than yourself. And if you get it right, culture scales. So here's my challenge for you. Think about the last person you hired or brought onto your team. Were they just skilled or were they aligned with you? What's one question you could start asking in interviews to uncover whether someone truly fits your company's values? Drop your thoughts in the comments and I'd love to hear your take on this. Section 2, risk and choice. Don't get into soul-sucking work. I had this conversation with Martin and it blew my mind. We were talking about risk management, both for clients, booking speakers, and for speakers stepping into and onto bigger stages. And let me tell you, if you're navigating a high-stakes transition, whether it's as a CEO or military leader or someone figuring out what's next in their career or their life, these insights are game changers. And I find that Martin's insights are relevant across multiple industries. Many people have been displaced from their jobs right now. And it can be easy to take the first big opportunity out of panic or desperation. I get it. I've been there. But sometimes we feel as if the work we're doing in those moments is not aligned with our values. The hard part is to believe in ourselves and our self-worth and just slow down a bit. There was one part of our conversation that really hit home, and I want you to hear it for yourself. Take a listen in.
How are you determining those ways to mitigate the risk? Because there's inevitably going to be somebody that we see that, as you said, came into the organization as their other self and not their real self,
Yeah.
and can slip by. And so, how do we? I know that you have that litmus test over here. How do you serve that for your clients? In other words.
Yeah, it's such a good question because I think you're absolutely right. At the end of the day, a big part of our job is risk management or risk mitigation, right? Someone's coming to a company like us because they've got an important event and they're going to hire a speaker and they're going to put that person on the stage for, let's say, an hour in front of their employees or their clients or their stakeholders. So it's a really important decision. And so our whole business is built around taking the risk out of that. So when we look at potential speakers, one of the things I always like to try to go see them speak in person. If that's not possible, get a video of a full presentation, not just the highlight reel. Because I've seen some of these sizzle reels and speaker reels where it's literally the 5 greatest minutes of that person's life on tape. And then I actually go and see the full presentation. And I realize there's nothing else there. They got 5 good minutes, and the other 55 are not great. So that's part of it, is getting out and seeing people, in person, or at least full presentation in advance. A big part of what we do is getting to know the person, because there's nothing worse than hiring a speaker who is great on stage and treats everybody horribly off stage. And that's a bad reflection on us and our values. So working with people who are not only great speakers, but are also great people and are partners in what we do, and have a level of service that they know that they're at an event not to serve themselves, not to make themselves look good, but to make the client look good, and make sure that they're delivering on the message that they were hired to deliver. So that's a big part of it. We've said no to speakers who were, we'd seen at events who were great speakers, but they just weren't really good people. And at the end of the day, it's going to leave everyone with a bad taste in their mouth. And if we do a great job, if our service is fantastic from the moment a client reaches out to us through the whole contracting, logistics process, and then a speaker shows up and treats everyone like crap, that's going to come back and reflect badly on us, I believe. So we try to avoid those people. And at the end of the day, it's we have to make a determination if we think the speaker is great. And one of the reasons I left law was I used to describe it as soul-sucking work, right? Like corporate law to me, I hate to say it, but it was soul-sucking work. It just didn't do anything, didn't feed my soul. I didn't think I was making the world a better place. I was moving around paper, facilitating transactions that would have happened whether I was there or not. And I didn't feel like I was adding any value to the world. So in this business, one of the things I said is booking a speaker that you don't believe in, and so that you can get a commission, is soul-sucking work.
Risk isn't just about avoiding mistakes. It's about making the right choices up front. For clients, that means booking speakers who align with their mission and move the needle, not just fill a slot. For speakers, it means understanding the business side, contract terms, audience expectations, and how to stay relevant without losing yourself. And that brings me to something that affects every leader, every entrepreneur, and every speaker. How do we avoid doing soul-sucking work? Because let's be real, no one sets out to wake up dreading their job. No one plans to grind through work that drains them instead of energizing them. But it happens. And the reason? We get stuck. We keep saying yes to the wrong things, aligning with the wrong people, and chasing opportunities that do not align with our purpose. This is where the reckoning, the revision, and the renewal come in. This is my model for becoming more resilient. I know it's hard out there for many people right now. And I need you to remember you have come through other times like this. You have a resiliency. Some are going through tough times today, and others will experience tough times tomorrow. Remember, the reckoning is realizing this isn't it. Maybe the job, the leadership style, or the business model isn't sustainable. The revision is the pivot, realigning with what actually fuels you, choosing the right stages, the right people, the right mission. And the renewal, that's stepping fully into the work that challenges you, stretches you, and excites you without the burnout. Here's the bigger picture. Soul-sucking work isn't just personal, it's systemic. In every industry, we see leaders exhausted by divisiveness. The speaking industry is no different. Too many speakers and executives play their bass instead of bridging real conversations. But the future belongs to those who build, not those who divide. So here's my challenge for you. Where in your work are you just going through the motions? What's draining you instead of fueling you? And what are you doing to change? And what are you doing to change it? Drop a comment, share your thoughts, and if this resonates with you, dive deeper into my content. Because of the real work, it starts now. Section 3, AI is a tool for rebuilding careers. You're in control. I didn't want to let this video think letter pass without addressing a lot of what I'm hearing across the United States. In my travels, I have been to San Diego, Orlando, Florida, Chattanooga, Tennessee, and other states and cities. And there is one emotion that has been consistent, and that is fear. Fear in jobs being cut dramatically. And it's not just about the loss of jobs, as it's about the cruelty on which it's being done. Yes, maybe jobs need to be eliminated, but cruelty is a choice. And I, for one, do not want to reap that harvest. What gives me hope is that even though we are in this moment, we have to quickly look for our skill set and begin the shift. Of course, I help people do this through my RE3 Resilience Action Model, but I had this conversation with Martin, and it hit me. AI can assist us in the shift. AI isn't just changing how we work, it's changing who gets to work. As I stated, right now across America, people are losing jobs. Federal employees, private sector professionals, entire industries being disrupted overnight. But here's what I want you to hear. This is not the end of the road. It is not the end of the road by far. AI is not here to replace us. It's here to be used by those who learn how to use it. Listen to this part of my conversation with Martin. It speaks how AI is transforming industries at lightning speed. So let's take it away.
What you just said is so spot on, especially with Gen AI right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I've had at least 2 people, direct bookings, find me on Instagram or on, I think one said even TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even do a lot of stuff on TikTok, but they're validating what they're seeing across multiple platforms to have the validation in front of their audience that they are looking at. And then they're going back and they're reference checking before I even know, using the Gen AI. And when I'm on stage, they're not really fact checking me, but they're looking at the things I'm saying and validating in the moment with me.
Mm-hmm.
Right. They're sending notes out to their folks and say, hey, check this dude out on this.
Yeah.
In the moment when I'm actually on stage presenting.
Yeah.
And so I think you're absolutely right. If you're mailing it in, you're going to get found out so quick in this day and age, because people are, they're not necessarily on the phone away from you. They're on the phone trying to add to the presentation in real time with you on that stage.
Exactly.
And I think that's fascinating.
Yeah.
And I think here's where I want to go with you on this question. I have another question, one more question after this. Is the reason I think that it's imperative for bureaus, the agencies, your peers, colleagues to talk about this at this level is because the engine is moving so fast right now. How do I stay ahead of the game of someone who is doing exactly that and just typing in? I just heard about this guy, John Register, put him in, and all this information comes up, all the videos and everything, and it's almost circumventing the bureau.
Yeah.
What are you talking about in that age to stay continuously relevant and ahead of the curve that seems to be coming?
Well, it's really interesting. So when we started our business, mid-90s, in 1996, I went to an event, and it was a technology event, and there's a speaker who threw out this word disintermediation. And he was saying, this thing called the internet, this new thing called the internet, it's going to disintermediate every industry. So if you're a real estate agent, travel agent, you're done. You're toast. You might as well find another job, because people are just going to go direct to the end source, right? And I thought, oh, great. Like, I just quit my job and started a business. That's exactly what we're doing. But it didn't happen. And then fast forward 10 or so years and social media comes out, and all of a sudden every speaker, not only they've got a website, they've got, they're on Twitter, they're on Facebook, they're on LinkedIn, Instagram, and so forth. And now people are, oh, well, you guys are finished now, because now people can interact directly with the speaker. What do we need an intermediary? And so, our approach from the very beginning has always been that we have to add value to both the end client and the speaker. And so in the old days, before we got into this, or maybe right when we started, agents and bureaus were gatekeepers, right? If someone wanted to book John Register, well, guess what? I have his phone number and you don't, so you have to come to me to get John Register because you don't know how to find him otherwise. But that model, of course, went away, 30 years ago. And so I think some agencies, especially maybe some that have been around for a really long time, had trouble wrapping their head around the fact that that was no longer the role of an agency to be a gatekeeper. So we kind of entered it at sort of a perfect time for us because just when we didn't have to take our business online, we started our business right when the internet was starting. And so we realized from the very beginning that the only way we can survive is if we provide value. So to the end client, to the meeting planner, the conference organizer, it's help them make a really great buying decision so that they're going to get the best possible speaker for their event. So mitigate the risk on the decision-making process. And then on the everything that happens after that, the logistics, make sure that goes as smoothly as possible. And if something does happen, last minute things sometimes come up, in live events, or, there's right now there's a hurricane going on in the South, right? And
Right.
weather things or global pandemics, you never know what's going to happen. We're there as a partner to say, hey, this is going on, but we've got a contingency plan in place for you. So if we can provide that kind of value to the end client and also to the speaker, we can help them grow their business, help them develop new content, find opportunities they wouldn't find on their own, then we'll be fine. Like in every business, you got to provide value. But if the idea is just like, hey, we're just going to be, this is a dated reference, but like the yellow pages of speakers where it's just like, we're just a clearinghouse, it's very transactional, then, we probably wouldn't have survived. And I think that the agencies that have that mentality, either have ceased to exist or they struggle because obviously now you got to provide a lot more value than just, sending out a contract and an invoice and washing your hands of it. So there's a lot that goes into it. And to me, it's all about how can we add value to this value chain, that you talked about. And a big part of that is, like you said before, is the risk management, the risk mitigation, and making sure when someone hires a speaker, it's, not only they're going to deliver on the stage, they're going to be great to work with off stage, things are going to run smoothly, and you've got a partner in case something happens to help, come up with a plan if something goes unexpectedly off the rails.
I really hope you heard what Martin stated. I had a contracted consultant who I supported in leaving my business and elevating to another organization. When the person did leave, I was thinking, oh my gosh, what do I do now? I no longer have a person dedicated to public relations and business growth. And then a person in my mastermind told me to check out Gen AI and ChatGPT. Oh my goodness. I was able to crank out press releases and proposals. I hate doing proposals, and AI actually made it easy, quick, and fun. The world of work is shifting. Hiring decisions are happening before you even know you're in the running. AI is being used to validate credentials, reference check in real time, and fact check while you're speaking on the platform. People are forming opinions about you before they even meet you. And this is where AI becomes your greatest tool. You can take what you know and begin to create courses on your expertise. AI is an ally, not a threat, because AI doesn't think for us, it responds to the questions we ask. The better the prompt, the better the answer. The better the strategy, the better the result. If you've recently lost a job, you're not powerless. But if you ignore AI and let someone else dictate the questions being asked, you will get left behind. AI can help you uncover new career opportunities faster than a job board. Sharpen your expertise by analyzing trends in your industry. But what it can't do, replace your ability to think, connect, and lead. Tell you what's meaningful in your career, give you purpose, passion, or direction. And that brings me to the reckoning, the revision, and the renewal. The reckoning is recognizing that change is here. Whether we're ready or not, AI isn't replacing jobs, it's changing who gets them. The revision is learning how to use AI as a tool, not fearing it as an enemy. How are you training yourself to ask better questions and better prompts? And the renewal, that's stepping into your next career move with clarity, adaptability, and control. Because when you lead the narrative, you're never obsolete. AI is a solution to the workplace divisiveness, a job displacement. So let's talk about the real issue underneath all of this: division. When industries shift, when jobs disappear, people fall into fear, blame. Federal employees, corporate professionals, small business owners, we're all seeing massive changes. Some people resist, some fight for what was, but the ones who win, they quickly acknowledge and mourn what was lost, and then they craft a new vision and finally embrace what's next. AI can level the playing field, but only if we take control of how we show up in search results, online networks, and digital reputation. We cannot use technology more than ever. We're at the mercy of technology. We are the architects of how it is to be used. This is too important to ignore. That's why I'm going to host a special webinar where I'll break down this even further. So stay tuned on this channel to learn the time for it. Now, how to use AI to rebuild your career, to not fear it. How to control the prompt so that you stay in the game, and how to position yourself for opportunities that haven't even been created yet. Here, and stay tuned for details. I want you in the room because the real work, it starts now. So if you're serious about mastering this shift, not just surviving, but thriving in AI age, then I want to invite you to something exclusive. I run a closed-door executive strategy session every month for leaders like you. This is not a webinar, it's a deep dive mastermind where we work through real solutions, staying ahead of disruption, leading effectively in a changing world, and using AI as an asset, not a threat. Here's what's included when you join. Monthly live executive training. We value that at about $500 a month. Monthly live masterminding, and also $500. Annual access to Elevate Life Premium Video Think Letter, which is about $2,000. Private WhatsApp group for high-level insights, another $1,000. Sprint Challenge Workbook to implement strategies, $199. Actionable Steps Blueprint, $599. Access to an elite community of 100 plus executives. The value of this is just under $5,000. But if you sign up in the next 24 hours, you will enter the community for just, get this, $297 for the year. If you're ready to lead in this new era, this is where it happens. Spots are limited. Stay tuned for more details on how to join, because the future, it belongs to those who take action. Thank you for joining me today. And if this has been valuable, please share it with a friend. We will see you next week with another leader who we will gain insight from. So go forth, inspire your world. We'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.